morning, everyone. It's a beautiful, beautiful windy day in here in this world of Tennessee. KJ's waking up to some coffee. Uh, got a lot going on. Leaving tomorrow to go down to Normandy Lake for a week. We go 1 week every month through spring and summer. Gonna take the RV down there. Gonna do some fishing. I need it. I'm sick and damn tired of sitting in this house, having to deal with all the things I've got to out of this house. I'm tying up loose ends on the business so that I can get away and get away from all of that. And packing the RV, getting all the food supplies, towels, washcloths, bedding, clothing, and all of those things together. I'm wore out, but I'm glad I'm here with y'all on a Friday. Hello, Lynn Forsberg, Rita Lou, Beach Lady. Hello, how are y'all? Just me, hello. Are you having a good morning, day, or evening? Y'all, there's something I want to talk to y'all about today. I think you'll find it very interesting if you'll bear with me. It really comes down to 13 men and 3 women that have been selected for the hookers trial there. How could that happen? I mean, did the state of Arizona's prosecuting team, did they know something we didn't know? That didn't sound good to me. That, 13 men, 13 of them. You think the hooker's getting juicy about that? What do y'all think? How about the 3 women? Do you think Lori picked those 3 women? We all know the process. They go through voir dire. They go through that questionnaire. We heard all about her questions, well, if you were the only one that didn't want to find me guilty, could you stand your ground? Could you be the warrior beyond the millennia? Y'all, it worried me. It really did worry me. Hello, Rita Lou, Vix Tex. Vix Tex says, I couldn't listen to it. Kelly Cantrell says, I was shocked. I live here and I've never seen a jury pick that fast. It's not about it being picked fast, Kelly. It's about 13 men on that jury. Is that her peers? I've been doing a little research about it, and ultimately, in summary of that, when it comes to men and women jurors, it's always better to get kind of, sort of, an even split if you really want to go there, right? Leanne Forsberg says she'll be flirting hussy style. Good morning, Hope Grace. How are you? So, I wanted to share a few things that I learned through Justice Through Understanding, and then we'll get into what I think Lori is thinking about the 13 men and 3 women on her jury. Okay, so we'll go through some facts, and then we'll wrap it up on something I think y'all are going to find quite interesting. So while research suggests potential differences in how male and female jurors approach cases, with some studies indicating women, now hear me out, y'all, women may be more conviction prone or influenced by the victim's gender, it's crucial to remember that these are generalizations and individual jurors' decisions are complex and influenced by various factors. So that's a strike against this jury, isn't it? Because according to studies, they're saying that women are more prone to convict. And y'all know as well as I do that, it's a difference between someone like Lori and some man who is going on trial for killing his wife or domestic violence or rape or something like that. This is a woman, 3 women jurors that we don't know are going to be the ultimate ones that are going to be picked to deliberate. For all we know, it could be 12 men, y'all. Because they've got to, just like they do in Idaho, they got to pull out the names in the hat or whatever. And it could be 12 men passing legal justice and judgment on this hussy. It's possible, right? But there are potential differences in verdict decisions, and some studies suggest that juries with a higher proportion of women may be slightly more likely to convict in certain types of cases, particularly sex offenses, while others indicate that female jurors may be more lenient in property and violent criminal cases. So there's a plus there. I'm telling you, oh, that don't sound good. They're more likely to convict, but there's only 3 women there. But now it's saying that they're more lenient. Again, y'all, these are generalizations and coming from studies, legal studies, peer review articles. Research suggests that female jurors may be more likely to render harsher penalties when the victim is a female. Charles Vallow wasn't a female. He was all man, you know? So we can't really look at that. And that's even in cases regardless of who the defendant is, whether they're man or female. If it would have been like in Idaho, Tylee and Tammy, but even JJ, you know, he was a child, and I would group that in with that summation there. Some studies suggest that women jurors may be more empathetic and emotionally sensitive, tending to sympathize with the victim. See, for every negative, I'm giving you a positive. While men, and there's 13 of them, y'all, on this jury, may be more evidence-driven in their evaluation of trial facts, which, you know, gives me a little bit of the warm fuzzies, because I know the state of Arizona has got their ducks in a row. For those that listen to Nate Eaton's interview with FBI agent Doug Hart, he says that there's plenty of evidence. And he's been an FBI agent for 27 years, so. But here's something that probably we weren't all thinking about, and wasn't thinking about it until I researched it. Some research suggests that male jurors might be elected as foremen more often and may participate more in deliberations, potentially having more influence on a jury's decision. So I don't know how many criminal trials that you have watched within your life, but how many of them do you recall when the judge said to the foreman and you overheard a female voice or a male voice? That's interesting. But here's something right here. Studies show that women as a group are less likely to support the death penalty than men. And of course, that's not applicable here, but it does kind of give you insight in that something really serious. A group of women are more likely less likely, to support the death penalty. I.e., I take that if there's a group of women, they're less likely to support, harsher sentences or whatever. But guess what, y'all? We only got 3 women. So how much of a group is that anyway? I know. It only takes 1 juror, right? And could it be a woman? Or would it be a man if that was the case? So, putting the men and women gender thing aside, we all know this, but it's good to recap it and really kind of get your feet wet in it. Factors like age, race, education, and personal experience can influence how jurors process information and make decisions. That goes without saying. There are so many people on this channel that have your own life experiences, whether you're a man or a woman, and you're going to look through your own lens. You're going to see things the way that you're going to see them. An example I gave years ago. It's silly, but I'm going to give the example just to kind of lay this out. You and I are standing on the side of the road, and we look a little ways down the road, and we both look at the same time, okay? And we're right next to each other, so we're not looking at it from different distances, but we see a dog run across the road. The first thing that I might think is, oh, that dog's going to get hit. But you might say, oh, that looks like a mix between a German Shepherd and a Aussie. Does it have a tag on? You know, and then maybe go into you thinking the second thought is that dog's going to get hit. Ultimately, what I'm trying to bring out is that everyone, whether they're men or women, they're going to, when they see something, they're going to make a decision through their own eyes, right? Izzy Day says it won't take long before Lori has an outburst and folds. Her defense backup team will be finishing the case. Izzy, you and I agree on that. I've been telling the Rays and others that. I think it's going to get too hard for her. But now that she's got 13 men over there watching her every move, you know this manipulating hooker knows how to play it to the hilt. And even that FBI agent Doug Hart talked about, this is Lori's limelight. This is what she wants. So she might finish it off. But she won't finish it off because she's seen it through herself. She's going to have her defense team there. Jurors may unconsciously rely on social stereotypes, including those related to gender, which can have important implications for verdict outcomes. Well, y'all know what the stereotypes are. And you can almost picture 13 men and 3 women sitting over there watching this case, listening to her cross-examine. And by the way, just to let y'all know, I listened to Nate Eaton's, his observations, and he talked about how Lori acted so timid when she was asking questions of these potential jurors. As in the day before, she was acting like a freaking idiot. Just an asshole, basically. So she knows how to adjust the way she's doing. She wants them jurors to think she's timid and sweet and all that. The mix of genders and other demographics on a jury can also affect deliberations and outcomes. And it's important to avoid making sweeping generalizations about male and female jurors, as individual jurors' decisions are complex and influenced by a wide range of factors. So even though I'm giving y'all some of this research and stuff, ultimately it's a mixed bag. But to me, 13 men and 3 women, it's a little lopsided to me, I know some of y'all might think, oh, KJ, whether they're men or women, if they can truly put their biases and stereotypes and all that aside and just focus on the evidence, then we can get a just verdict. And that's true. But then again, how are we to know what goes on in a juror's mind? The dynamics in the jury room. And ultimately, which 12 are going to pass judgment on her? Or is it going to be 12 men? Is it going to be 9 men and 3 women? We don't know. Hi, Jennifer Sukup. Thank y'all, the mods on here, for doing this. Of course, there's always research going on, y'all, and more research is needed to fully understand the role of gender in jury decision-making and the potential impact of different jury compositions. So I thought, well, okay, There are all kinds of studies out there, and I zeroed in on the Yale Law Review, which Yale University is one of the preeminent, one of them anyway, universities here in the United States. The Yale Law Group did a study on this particular issue, and in summary, numerous empirical studies of mock juries all identify the same pattern. All of them. Women have a lower participation rate than men during deliberations, y'all. Okay? And because the jury carries out its task through the exchange of ideas communicated by words, active verbal participation in the law to the facts and rendering an accurate verdict that represents the values of the community. So what is that saying? That's saying that whether there's 13 men or 2 men or 5 women or whatever, that all of them, there is no, empirical bottom line on it, but it does say that women participate less. And perhaps women, maybe they don't participate because they're doing what? They're listening. And some of the most intelligent, brilliant people listen more than they blab their mouth like Ole KJ. Okay? So, that's that. But what did Lori want? What did Lori want in her jury? Obviously, she wanted lots of men because the state allowed it. I don't understand that. I mean, from what I've been reading and everything, it would seem that she would try to use her manipulation, her flirty nature, and all this and that, and she feels pretty confident about that. Well, I'll tell you this right now, y'all. She might think that way now, but when she goes to Pocatello Women's Prison, she's going to have to flip on that and start figuring out how to seduce women. Instead of, her and this, I know how to get my way through, being, sexual or whatever with a man. Let me bounce my chest up and down. Let me just talk in a sweet voice. She didn't get nothing accomplished by that with the judge there. And I saw it for what it was. She wants to pout. And that is so instinctively, a man is going to listen to a woman pout like that, and he's going to want to do what? He's going to want to come in and save the day. Give me a break, y'all. That judge could see right through what she was doing. But what does the defense want? They want jurors that are open-minded, and this hooker wants jurors that could believe that she's lived 5 different lives on this earth and 21 on another planet that she doesn't speak about. I mean, can she give us the names of the other planets? Can she do that? I mean, make it more real. She wants to, and y'all notice, anytime that she's talked to Kobe or Keith Morrison, she don't bring up all this crappy, stupid stuff that she was spewing to other people. But a defense team wants open-minded and fair, a lack of bias, no preconceived notions, jurors who are not easily influenced. I don't believe that for Lori. I think Lori thinks that she can influence at least one of these jurors. She's already made herself known. She thinks in her mind that, because she asked the question, if there's just one of you, that's her bread and butter. She's going to focus in. She knows narcissists and, in my opinion, demon possession, they know how to size someone up. Just by their body language and the way that they look, their facial expressions. Lori knows all about that. She knows how to do it. So this whole thing about they don't want jurors that are easily influenced, I think she wants to influence a jury that she ain't done nothing wrong. Or if for nothing else, she wants to convince a jury there's not enough evidence to convict her on conspiracy to commit murder. Kelly Cantrell says the judge was unusually patient with her. Is the judge a Mormon? Just wondering. Kelly, I don't know, but it's been my understanding through some of the vids that I've been looking at with Nate and others that this judge just has to be careful, to make an appropriate record and the integrity of the case. So he's got to be a little lenient. And it's my opinion that media in general have put it out there to all of us, hey, don't get mad because this judge seems to be, giving Lori her way or just being more patient with Lori. He just is thinking about appeals and stuff like that. Hello, Sunflower Sammy. How are you? Vixtex says Keith Morrison must have needed a cleaning ritual after that interview. Oh, yeah, Vixtex. Just like when Lori was being extradited from Idaho to Arizona, she had to stop at some store and go to the bathroom, and the employees in there had to burn sage because they said it was evil in there. Y'all, really? Just Me says, in my opinion, the judge is protecting the case. I believe that. Sis, you should have been a detective, says, when it gets down to it, I think this judge will be firm with Lori. But he has to be firm in a way that's not going to look like, he's patronizing her or looking down on her or saying anything negative. Because that can have a negative connotation from jurors that are watching it. And again, this goes again, what do these men on this jury, what are they going to think when the judge has to be patient with her and see her through these objections and all of this stuff, procedure, rules of evidence and such? Right, Leanne Forsberg. He's not going to give her legal advice. She's got her Daybell team there. I assume, y'all, and y'all, this is what I assume. I think this trial is going to be a lot of her, give me a moment, Your Honor. She's going to be doing a lot of whispering with her Daybell team. They'll probably have to take lots of breaks for her to get her shit together and stuff like that. I think all the men on the jury will think they have known a succubus before, says you should. Also, a defense attorney, and again, she's not a defense attorney. I'm just trying to show y'all what, we don't know anything about these jurors other than their gender. We don't know, what their ages are or anything else, anything demographically about them other than their gender. But a real defense attorney, and this is common from a law review, really, jurors who are not easily swayed by emotions. And I could see that with Lori. She does not want those jurors to have any empathy or sadness when they see what she did to Charles Vallow. During the autopsy, the medical examiners, they don't, I just assume that Lori didn't pick these jurors all by herself, that this defense team helped her in some way. And a defense wants jurors who are not afraid to speak their mind. Again, this goes back to that Yale research where it talks about women are, and this is empirical, this was mock juries. So this has been a long time going. This is peer review stuff. Other research has taken it and said, yeah, I've looked at your study and I'm putting my stamp on it. The bottom line is that these women are not going, 9 times out of 10, and this is a generalization, they're not going to be the big person, like the wearing the pants in the room. Unless, of course, Lori has spotted one. Someone like her, But prosecutors, again, I cannot stress this enough, y'all. I don't feel good about 13 men and 3 women on this jury. I just don't. Not to say that that's going to get her not convicted. I'm just saying it's not a representation in my view. I mean, I'm not saying that it should be 8 men and 8 women. I'm not saying that. But it's just, don't you find that interesting that there's 13 men? I can't say it enough. But prosecutors are aiming for a fair and impartial jury. But y'all, let's get down to the nitty gritty. They also want someone who's going to convict her ass. But they want someone who's impartial, open-minded, have integrity and good judgment, an ability to follow the law, no preconceived notions, an avoidance of bias, potential leadership ability, and maybe, and not to say women can't be leaders, but maybe the state said, okay, Lori, you want your men, you think you can manipulate these men on the jury, and you think you can sashay across the damn floor there, and, get them feeling sorry for you and all that other stuff. Go for it. The prosecutors know maybe a hell of a lot more than I or anyone else, unless they're a prosecutor or an attorney. And an avoidance of bad jurors. Prosecutors try to avoid jurors who are known for being argumentative, difficult to persuade, or who may hold up the jury's decision-making process, obviously. And of course, whether they're the prosecution or the defense, Lori and her team and the state of Arizona prosecutors there, they check all this out through voir dire, observing demeanor, asking specific questions. There are preemptive challenges. And again, we didn't get to hear any of that. I never heard any Nate talk about there was anyone being stricken. It was so quick. Edie Roos says this case is so open and shut, it's liable to be wrapped up next week. Oh, well, Lena, I hope you get to feeling better. Isabel Marie says the barn witch will be given sexy eye. Yeah, Big Tex, there's several counties in Tennessee that are under tornado warning. The governor of the state has done this emergency thing for these counties. So yes, my prayers are with anyone. It's not going to affect our county, but it is very windy out here. And we're supposed to have rain coming in overnight and tomorrow and all of that. Sis, you should have been a detective says, difficult research moderator extraordinaire will be in the courtroom giving us live updates. That's Trace on the case, y'all. So be sure to be there. Edie Ray says, I was up late fighting tornadoes. Isabel Marie says, I'm so worried about Lori questioning Kay or Tylee's friend. Dear Lord, protect the victims. Well, Isabella, she did say that subpoenas were going to go out. But you got to remember this. The judge said it. Unless there's relevant testimony that Lori wants from Vaisia or Kay Woodcock. Well, Kay Woodcock's already on the state's witness list. So let's look at Vaisia. If the judge sees and the prosecutor has a right to talk to Vaisia, I don't think that we're going to have to worry about Tylee's friend. I think that was Lori's demon inside of her, just wanting to chew on some more innocence and devour it as best as she could. I don't believe that Vaisia is going to be there. Maybe that's disappointing to some of y'all, but I just don't believe that. And I don't believe Zachary Cox is going to be there. Adam Cox, Kay Woodcock, this Hancock woman, Serena, don't y'all find it interesting? Serena Sharp, she didn't want to disregard Serena Sharp there. Yeah, Trina K will object if Lori gets out of line. Now, with all this being said, let's get to what Ole KJ thinks about Lori having 13 men and 3 women on the jury. You ready? Because, folks, this should bring you back to memory lane. And you have to ask yourself, well, why isn't she still talking this way? Do y'all remember Melanie Gibbs' in-home meeting? She says this in the in-home meeting, word for word. I told the Lord, why would you do this to me? Why? You made me this super sweet person. I'm so sensitive. My whole life, everything hurt my feelings. I was totally sweet and innocent, and I was like, why would you ask me to fight this life and be this warrior? Why did you send me here? You know my personality. You know I hate to fight. I will avoid a fight at all costs. And he gave me a pretty mortal memory of me. And I got to see myself as a warrior fighting for the Savior in the pre-mortal world. And I went to other worlds and I fought. And I was one of his strongest warriors. And I saw it. And he showed me that I could never deny it again. I was not sweet and I was not innocent. I am old. I have fought. I have fought in many. I fought in this war for a millennia. And that's who I am. I came down here to be a warrior. What I teach the women, I am an advocate for the women. I have had an experience with my Heavenly Mother. She was a warrior, and we are her line, and her priesthood power is here, and it is going to be back on the earth in fullness, the priesthood power. The woman and men together, they are side by side. They are equal in power and glory. Equal. Y'all remember that? She's trying to say to this roomful of nut jobs, and Melanie Gibbs in the background going, like she's got some orgasm going on. She wants everyone to know that she's got the priesthood power, that she's on equal footing with men. And yet, this jury is made up of 13 men and 3 women. And is she the advocate for the 3 women that are sitting on the jury there? Because you know what, y'all? Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that they're allowed, the prosecution or the defense, to talk about what religion are you. I think that's discrimination. And so putting the religious aspect aside, the only thing she does have is that these men, regardless if all 3 women end up being part of the 12, there's going to be a majority of men that's going to pass judgment on the hooker. Oh, yeah, Donna. Lori says she is an advocate for women, right? Well, Tylee was a young woman. Was she an advocate for her daughter? Was she an advocate for Zulema and Melanie Gibb and Audrey Bartario and Christina Atwood and Serena Sharp and any of these other crazy-ass people? Was she an example of how a woman should advocate for anyone? And why ain't she bringing it up? That she, hey, I'm the warrior beyond the millennia and I'm on equal footing with men. Why ain't she bringing all that shit up now? Why ain't she bringing up any of this crazy stuff that she wants to say justifies what she did to her children, Tammy, Charles, Brandon, Joe Ryan? And the Bethy Boop says at least 9 men. At least 9 men. Regardless of who is picked for those last 12, at least 9 of them. This isn't no even Steven thing, and it's going to be very interesting. Now, y'all know as well as I do, Lori was raised in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Many of y'all are already well schooled, way beyond Ole KJ, about this whole ordeal about how men have more leadership positions as far as the priesthood and all this, and women, how the women, yes, they're put in leadership roles, but they're not equal. And Lori wanted to bring that out to these people sitting at Melody Gibbs' house. She wants these yearnings that a woman has. Well, let me just be clear with you. Anyone can believe whatever they want to believe, whether they're religious, whether they're atheists, whatever they are. Ole KJ believes that women are a helpmate to a man. Does that mean she's less than a man? No, but it doesn't mean she's more than a man either. And if a man is so powerful and can handle his shit, then why would God need a woman to be his helpmate? On the flip side of that, I believe that men should love their women as they do their own flesh. So a man's not going to destroy his own flesh, first of all, unless, of course, let's get down to drug addiction or whatever. But you know what I mean. They're going to nurture themselves to keep themselves able to get out here in the world and be a man, right? Well, the same should go that men should also nurture women and be there for women and look over women, and women should look over men in that sense. But this whole idea that, KJ's saying that men are better than women, no, and women are not better than men. Okay? So Lori's got this innate thing inside of her that she's been taught all her life, but don't you find that interesting? What she's done to her ex-husbands and how she treated people, men, basically. It was all about, let me spread my legs, let me do whatever I got to do my woman wiles to, that's what I've got. Those are my tools. Well, you know what? That is not a woman. A woman should not say, well, the only way that I can assert any power is through my sexuality. And really, for men as well. Though that goes back to stereotypes, right? Hello, Cindy Bullock. Vix Tech says, I asked on another platform if Lori was getting assistance from the LDS Church, but a person in the chat said no, but it seems otherwise. Well, Vix Tech, I don't know the answer to that, but I do know this Matthew Ballard, like Tim Ballard, has been hired by Gabrielle Bonita to represent him. Wonder what Lori wants from him, huh? Does this happen to tie in to, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and that's why this attorney has stepped up and all of that? Sunflower Sammy says, I'll bet the guy jury see right through her crap. Men are less emotional and objective. Just the facts, ma'am, no fluff. A lot of women are too soft and pliable. There you go. Yeah, that's what the research says, Sunflower Sammy. So you're entirely right on that. The bottom line is you really got to look at this like however you're going to look at it. But let me just say this. I need to look at it. I'm sorry. I have to speak for myself. I can't be telling other people how to look at things because that would not be right. It would not at all. But the way I see it is these men and these women sitting on the jury, when they start laying out their case against her, and we know pretty much what the evidence is, the moment that it starts to really come together, they're not going to see her in the same way, and her manipulation and her female flirty nature or anything is going to look disgusting. It's going to look bad. It's going to look more evil and diabolical than what these juror members are seeing in the evidence. Edie Rose says he gave her temple recommends, I think. Yeah, somebody, I don't know if somebody on here, just me or any of y'all, could y'all tell me what his testimony would have entailed? Gabrielle Bonita, and maybe Edie Ruth is right, but do y'all know anything else? Because I don't know. Jewelbox News says yes, they should see right through her. Hi, Marilyn. Emily Hammond says it's not going to work this time with Lori doing what she does. Just Me says he was listening in on the phone call with Charles. Okay. Wonder why the state didn't have him as a witness. Lori is looking at this fella and saying that this is going to prove her innocence. What do you think, Just Me? Edie Rose says, wasn't he her bishop? Cindy Bullock says, Lori's so hard to watch. What a fool. Marilyn, you having a good day? I hope you're having a good day. So, ultimately what I'm trying to bring out is that it's almost rich, if you want to use that word. It's almost kind of even, if you want to even think funny, that Lori must have agreed to these 13 men, and all she's ever done her whole life is manipulate and seduce men and mistreat them. And you just think about that. And she thinks in her mind, and I know I don't know what she's thinking, but just from her, the way she is, she probably thinks she can get some sympathy or something from these men through her flirtatious nature. She's going to act all timid and sweet and, sashay across the room and, just act so meek and innocent when she's nothing more than a serial killer. But ultimately, think about the men and think about when they start seeing the evidence of her having an affair with Chad Daybell and all that. Jewelbox News says she'll be nice until they piss her off. Donna says she'll be looking for tricks or a mistrial. Well, I think this judge is going to do an excellent job. I think he's proven that up to this point. Obviously, even if she wasn't representing herself, we would still be having the conversation. I hope the integrity of this case is okay. This is just going to be a tightrope walk for this judge, and I hope he can take care of it. I have confidence in him. Ellen Larson says that Lori thinks that she can still work them. Fancy Nancy says she will use her flirting to try to manipulate, but they will see through her. Hello, Canyon Jam. So, from opening statements, which are Monday, y'all, I hope they give a good one. I really hope the state gives a good one. And, I can't even begin to wrap it around my head what Lori's going to say in her opening. But I'm sure that the state is going to have a good opening statement, and that's going to set the tone from then on out as soon as she starts doing her evil, diabolical, manipulating bullshit. You know it. VixTech says, don't underestimate Lori's capacity for manipulation. Ellen Larson says, I'm praying. Sunflower Sammy says, I'm curious why the state didn't call Melanie Gibb. Testimony would go to the part of getting rid of his other dude that took him over. Because Sunflower Sammy, the state didn't want to, this is just an opinion. They didn't want to open up that whole dang, get the jury confused or anything. That's going to come out with the body cam of Charles saying, she thinks I'm this and this and that. That's all his own. That is the victim's words himself. And those jury members are absolutely going to see that look on Charles Vallow's face and how concerned he is. He's not angry. He's not trying to be vindictive with her. That's why she wants those videos of the purse incident, because she wants to try to get the jury to think that Charles was this terrible person and everything. Jewelbox News says, yes, I think it will, they'll feel bad for Charles that no one believed him. Mark A. Davis says that Lori is her own worst enemy. Jewelbox News says they'll call Melanie for Brandon's case. You think? In my opinion, once the jury sees her laughing with authorities and Charles Vallow's video, it's all over for her. Great point, Marilyn. It's just too much evidence. It's not about a jury members looking at Lori over there going, hey, neighbors, and stuff like that, or laughing or smiling. It's almost about how can she have the defense that this was a terrible self-defense thing and all of that. Her actions, the way she was, doesn't, even if she explained it, even if she went on the stand and said it was just a terrible, terrible thing that happened and I hate it. Well, she can't say that because that's not how she acted. That's not how she acted. Melanie Pulowski is the only one that knew Brandon's address, says Jewelbox News. Sunflower Sammy says they'll see Lori's snark and ego. So ultimately, y'all, the question that's never going to get answered until after this trial, and we don't even know that there would ever be an answer to it unless jurors came forward to do interviews. How did it end up with 13 men and 3 women on the hooker's trial here as a juror? Why? Fancy Nancy says, I think Lori's going to lose it in front of the jury at some point. Brooklyn, we're talking about the Lori Vallow Daybell case. She's opening statements start on Monday, and we're discussing the fact that the jury makeup is 13 men and 3 women on there. And the fact that Lori always wanted to be on equal footing with men. Lori always, does anyone believe that Chad Daybell absolutely was able to manipulate Lori through his masculinity? He is a lumpy, dumpy jerk who couldn't, she's the one that was manipulating and seducing him. Vixtech says, I just want justice for Charles Vallow and his family. And I do as well. But I'll tell you this. When I heard FBI agent Doug Hart talk about Lori just wants the limelight, and that's what I hate, the fact that she's enjoying all this, and I got to thinking about it, and I thought, well, yeah, we're talking about it. We've been talking about it for 5 years. And really, should we even give it air or anything? Well, I'll tell you what, if I haven't proven that something good could come out of that evil, diabolical hussy and what she did, I think I have made myself clear with justice through understanding. Something good has come out of it. If for nothing else, if nobody learned anything, and if I didn't learn anything from you, we are still a community that cares. Former FBI Detective Doug Hart described Lori's self-representation as very difficult, trying to wade through following the procedural rules of law, says Canyon Jam. Oh, it is. It's going to be absolutely... It's going exactly, Vic's text. Lena Howery thinks that the jury's going to see Lori angry at points. I think it'll be more about frustration. Because, she's the warrior beyond the millennia. She's lived all these lives on different planets, 5 times here on earth. And somehow she's got to wear a stun belt, and she's on trial for conspiracy to commit murder. And somehow, some way, her narcissism has got her convinced that she can do this. Some believe she thinks she's going to get out of it. Others think it's just her last hoorah, which I'm in that group. Sunflower Sammy says, Charles Vallow was an amazing human being, so sad for Kay and family. Fancy Nancy says, Lena, she'll definitely get mad at someone. Cindy says that Lori will get pissed on day one. Now, y'all remember, do you think the state of Arizona doesn't know how upset Lori got about Chad's stupid book? He's got to be brought up limited, I'm sure, in this trial somehow, because they've got to admit in evidence where she is texting the asshole about, I'm not going to get the $1 million. He must have changed it before he became Ned Schneider. I'm still going to get $4,000 a month. I'm sure they'll probably bring in him calling the funeral home and all that other stuff. Rad Joe says that Lori's going to have a full-blown come apart. Oh, the damsel in distress, Rad Joe. Oh, men eat that up, don't they? Well, I guarantee you this. If these men, these 13 men, start eating it up, oh, the damsel in distress, Charles was such a bad guy, he stole her purse, and blah, blah, blah. Wait till they put the pictures of Charles Vallow dead on the screen. And God forbid that these family members have to deal with that, and I'm sorry to say it, but as soon as they see what she did, I don't care how much of a damsel she thinks she is. I thought she's a freaking damn warrior beyond the millennia. Which is it, hooker? Which is it? Are you a victim, or are you the warrior that fought through the millennia and all that stupid shit? Well, yes, Isabella. Lori didn't want the shock vest or the stun belt. She didn't want the security guards or the police over there at the entrances and the doorways there. She doesn't want anyone to not. She absolutely does not get it. She is a convicted serial killer of children, of Tammy. She is a serial killer. Oh, and she wants to talk about in her little in-home meeting, the Savior showed me, yeah, Jesus Christ wanted you to come down here and murder people? She is disgusting. She needs to dang get a grip. A grip. It's almost laughable how she stacked the jury with mostly all men. It brings to mind the servants packing the queen around on one of those platform things. Can't remember what it's called, says Canyon Jam. Well, I'll tell you what, this will be her last time that she can have all this male attention, because when her ass gets to Pocatello Women's Prison, she better just join up the Lit Club and hope, just hope, that she can be some damn woman's arm candy. She is nuts, Isabella. It's called a litter, says Fancy Nancy to Canyon Jam. Yeah, Ellen, if anybody wants to really understand how this woman sees through her own eyes about men and what she can do to get her way, all that goes totally against what she was telling everybody at Melanie Gibbs' in-home meet. She's talking about equal footing. But what she's done and what her pattern has shown for years, this isn't my opinion, this is absolutely fact. She has always shit all over every man she ever was with. That's all she knows how to do. That's not equal footing. And if she's such a warrior beyond the millennia and the Savior, picked her to come down here and all that stuff, then why in the hell she got so many damn divorces? What, that's part of the plan too? Oh, But Chad Daybell can't get a divorce. Lori can't get a divorce. She can't get a divorce because she's got to lie and make Charles think that there's a possibility that they could get back together just long enough for her and Alex to ambush his ass to try to get the money. That's all it is. See you later, just me. Isabella, Chad Daybell does not get TV on death row. I guarantee you that. I've already looked it up. He can shit in one hand and open another. He might get his dang write letters, and I don't even think he is allowed phone calls. Candy Jam says, I predict they will introduce evidence that proves Charles or Tylee never handled the bat. So much for self-defense. There was no DNA on it. No DNA on it. And y'all remember, Lori didn't want that detective who wanted to be an expert in firearms. She does not want him to get on the stand and talk about the trajectory of that bullet showing that Charles Vallow was shot as he was laying flat on his back. She can't do nothing about it. Nothing about it. So, I'm leaving out tomorrow to go to Normandy. I'm going to get with the Rays over the weekend. I'll be hanging out at Difficult Research Monday for opening statements. There's a 30-minute delay in all that. But I know that Donna and Cresha and them will do a fabulous job on it. And I want to be there to support Cresha and her family. And then later on, maybe in the evening, we could talk about it. And we'll get back together. No, Granny Whisper, it's Normandy Lake in Tennessee. We go there 1 week a month during spring all the way through late summer with our RV. We go fishing and all that. I'm sure last spring and summer you saw Ole KJ bringing in the catfish. Yippee, says Donna. Donna, you're going to do incredible. You're going to do a great job. Yes. Thank you, Sunflower Sammy. It is, Granny. It's a way for me to get away from things. I remember, during the week, Wayne goes to work because, we're probably about 45 minutes from the campground. But he goes to work during the week and comes back to go fishing in the afternoon, or we'll go early morning, then he has to go to work during the day. But I remember when they had opening statements of Lori, was it Lori? Yeah, it was Lori, where they did the sex, money, power. I was in the middle of the lake. I'm surprised I got service on my phone. I was sitting there fishing, listening to all that. Thank you, Rad Joe. Hi, Lily Jahan. So, I'm torn on whether 13 men and 3 women. But I guess it really comes down to what it's just me. I just got to pray that they'll do what needs to be done for justice for Charles Vallow. And it's going to be interesting when the next trial after that one starts of Brandon Boudreaux. How many men will sit on that jury? Isabella says, I need a fishing break this weekend. Thank you, Canyon Jam. And for all of y'all that are experiencing bad weather or tornado type weather or rain spells or whatever, my heart goes out. I'll be thinking of all of y'all. Sunflower Sammy says, amen. It's in God's hands. Amen, y'all. The question is, Granny Whisper, when you say, do you think she picked more men because she thinks she's pretty and can't influence them? And can't influence them? Or can influence them? Okay. The question is I know that they all have preempt strikes that they can do, And how did it end up that the state of Arizona was, it's almost like the state of Arizona is like, okay, you want 13 men, here you go. Because it would seem that it would be more evenly split, you know. We wouldn't be having this conversation if it was like 10 and 6. Like 10 men and 6 women. You know what I'm saying? Or even half and half. But because it's so lopsided with 13 men, it's just almost like it was meant to be, y'all. It was just meant to be. Well, you're welcome, Vicky Carpenter. Isabella says Australian floods are bad right now. Vixtech says the state of Arizona needs to redeem itself. Lori, that's the only thing that she ever thought. That's sad, isn't it? It's sad that she thought that that's really all she could do to assert power, is to, sexually seduce men. But then again, she's narcissistic. So, I don't know how. Hey, I know there are a lot of women out here that don't have to offer sex or act sexual or anything to assert some kind of respect or anything. And in fact, even though it is a stereotype, it is, y'all, that women use their bodies or their sexual prowess or are promiscuous or whatever in order to get their way. What do you think men do? Maybe they don't do it like women do it, but I guess people would say another stereotype would be men use, their money or something like that. Which we're going to find out exactly what these men think of the hooker. Cindy says she has morphed into a demon. She has lost her looks. Sunflower Sammy, you have a great day too. And all of y'all that modded, thank you, Fancy Nancy, Just Me, others, Canyon Jam, all of y'all, thank y'all so much. Just keep in mind, y'all, that gender does matter, but then again, it doesn't matter. It all really comes down to what? If it's done right. The evidence presented in the case of Lori the Hooker Daybell, charged with conspiracy to commit murder of Charles Vallow. May justice be done regardless of whether it's a man or a woman. Because Lori sure as heck, she wants to be on equal footing with men. We're going to see it on display, y'all. We're going to see. Absolutely. And I hope someone's going to be taking notes and letting all of us know what these people's faces are going to look like, what they're going to be, their body language and all of this and that. I hope that happens. Especially when Lori has to get up there and talk to a medical examiner about her own damn handiwork. She should have been paying closer attention to how they answered questions rather than a jury based solely on gender. It is glaring. Can anyone remember ever seeing a jury of almost all men? I haven't. But let's remember this, y'all. They are side by side. They are equal in power and glory. Equal, says Lori at Melanie Gibbs' in-home meeting. We're going to find out, ain't we? I love you all. Have a great weekend. Leave your comments. We'll get back together, I promise. And keep on looking.